We have a quorum, so we'll call to order the April 22nd, 2025 meeting of the Zionsville Redevelopment Commission. We'll start with the consent agenda items of the monthly report, the TIF area memorandum, approval and adoption of meeting minutes from the March 25th meeting, and claims for approval. Any discussion or comments on any of the agenda items from anyone? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second. All right. I hear a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda items signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion carried. Next is the director's report.
Good morning, members of the commission. I just wanted to give a quick update on Creekside. We have lots 4 and 5, which is the Center for Site, which is moving towards construction. Lots 7 and 8, which is exclusive auto sports. They came before the Creekside Corporate Park Architectural Review Committee, of which Commissioner Ezra sits on, and we were able to come to agreement on their design. So that will go with a recommendation to the Plan Commission to allow them to start moving towards construction. We've had some initial interest in lots 1 and 3, and hopefully that will come to some future meetings. And then we'll have some discussion later in the agenda today on Lot 9 and Intelligent Living Solutions. So that's just a quick update on things that we've been working on at the RDC.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Old business, seeing none. New business, we have a TIF pledge resolution for the Holiday Farms EDA.
Yes, I'll hand over the podium to Jeremy Ullum from Barnes & Thornburg.
Mr. President, members of the commission, I'm Jeremy Ullum with Barnes. Good to see you guys again. We're at the last step on our planning calendar. I circled it because it's the very last thing to accomplish here in this transaction. This is the same project that came before you when you approved a project agreement at your last meeting. Since that time, we've been to the Economic Development Commission, who approved the transaction, or held their public hearing, I should say, and recommended it to the council. And then yesterday morning, we were at the council for their final approval and received a unanimous approval. So this is the last step in the process. You have a resolution before you that would pledge 80% of the TIF revenues in that area to these bonds, and then we look to proceed to close in the relatively near future. So no changes since we were before you last and kind of walk through everything. I'm happy to answer any questions, or I have Doug Fleener with me again today that can answer any questions about the project.
Thank you, Jeremy. Any questions from commissioners?
No, this moved through the council without any issues, so.
Meaningful, good to hear. All right. Was that a motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-03, the TIF pledge resolution for Holiday Farms.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, I think we have a brief presentation from Intelligent Living Solutions for the Creekside Lot 9. Or actually, no, it's the development agreement.
Correct. I was just going to
Yeah.
set the table here. This is Lot 9, which is on 106th Street across from Dahlia Way. We have a executed letter of interest from the company Intelligent Living Solutions, now moving towards the development agreement. I think Dan is going to give a little bit of an overview of the facility and of what he's intending for the site. The only thing I will point out that is different in this development agreement is by nature of this site and having some ingress, egress, acceleration, deceleration lanes that are going to be specific to this site. There has been an obligation on behalf of the RDC to help support the cost of those infrastructure, that transportation infrastructure. But again, I'll hand over the podium to Dan to talk a little bit about his project, and then we can move on to actual approval of the development agreement.
If I might just note, Mr. President, there was, when we talked about that, the egress with Lance, that wasn't that going to be a part of a project that was coming up? A road project, or am I wrong about that?
Yes. So what we've decided to do is, in conversations with Lance, the director of the Department of Public Works, there is going to be a repaving project that will occur on 106th Street in 2026. And so we actually moved it up. It was probably going to be a 2027 project. We made it a 2026 project, and we found some savings that in doing this ingress, egress, acceleration, deceleration lanes in conjunction with that paving project, we can get some savings in that. So that makes it such that the RDC investing in it's even a better investment because we can do it at a lower cost.
So even with that, the RDC will have some investment there.
Correct.
Okay.
So there'll be a paving project, and the idea being that while they're doing the milling and all the other things and redoing the curbs, and that we do this in conjunction with that, and there's the mobilization cost that we can save on.
Okay.
So, yep.
Members of the committee, thank you for having me today. I have some images to share with you that I don't know if they'll pop up here. Let's see. Okay. So through the LOI phase, we've developed a conceptual site plan and elevations of the proposed building on Creekside Lot 9. Using it for the Intelligent Living Solutions headquarters as well as leasable space for other tenants. We're looking at a 20,000 square foot building, 2 stories, with a covered patio porch area in the rear, south side overlooking Creekside Corporate Park, as well as the ability to potentially have rooftop dining space in the building. So what we're looking at here is the conceptual image facing 106th Street, so utilizing brick, EFS, metal on the front to tie in with the Ray Hall property to the east and South Village to the west, so kind of incorporating the brick that we see in Zionsville as well as color schemes and things that tie in with existing buildings on the 106th Street. West elevation, just kind of looking at potential outdoor dining space here for potential tenants, as well as the screening of that. On the rear facade, here we have our covered porch area that allows us to have outdoor dining and outdoor use opportunities overlooking Creekside Corporate Park. On the east elevation, and we have opportunities for intelligent living outdoor show spaces for outdoor technologies and use of that. And then on the elevation here, we are seeing this area with the 550 being a 2-story foyer that has elevator stairs that then gives upper floor tenants access to their space on the upper floor. The first floor would be accessible via these exterior doors to tenants that have first floor space. So that is our conceptual plan for Creekside Lot 9. Any questions that I can answer for the commission?
Questions?
No, just quick comment if I can. Dan, really excited about this project, really excited about how the conceptual plan looks, the potential uses for this project, I think fit well within the Creekside area, especially there off 106th Street. Just really excited that we have a local business that is going to continue to build and invest in our community. So thank you for that.
Perfect. Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions or comments?
So for this development agreement, that's our next, can we make, John, Mr. Oberlander, can we make amendments to this or propose amendments to it?
Yeah, absolutely. You can always amend a development agreement.
Okay. And that's what we're voting to approve right now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I only have, if it's okay, I only have one edit to this. On Article 1, Section 1.3D, indemnity obligations. I would just like to see the town of Zionsville be added as a indemnified party. I know that it says the commission on there, but if we could add the town of Zionsville to the list of indemnified parties, that would be my recommendation.
Council, you have any thoughts or comments or concerns with that?
I don't have any issue with that. The ILS, I mean, do you have any issues with adding the town of Zionsville? Okay, we'll make that amendment.
Okay, thank you.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the development agreement do we have to address the amendment in the approval or do it separately?
Mr. President, if we can just also, there's two other matters I think we still need to resolve. So if I could make just a suggestion, so we need to amend the development entity, so the specific purpose-built entity for the development of this project. And then I think there's one provision we need to clarify as it relates to right-of-way. So I think we could do it one of two ways. We could say, approve it subject to those amendments, or we could say that, those issues will be resolved. You will be given, or someone else, a member of the commission will be given authority to make sure those issues are resolved to the commission's satisfaction, and then as part of that same vote, give the authority to sign the document once those issues have been resolved. I don't know if you have an advice, John, on how you think would be best to do that procedurally.
Yeah, I think you would make a motion to approve with the provisions that Justin laid out, and I would make it as amended for Councilor Norris's amendment as well. So you could just make a motion to approve. You could delegate, whomever you choose on the commission to work out those details for the ingress and egress, and then sign the final development agreement as amended.
Okay.
Clear as mud.
That's one large vote. Do you want me to
Yes.
break it up?
I think, you can handle it however you'd like. If you,
Do it in one.
Okay, you want me to do it?
Yeah, see if you got your hand grasped.
Okay. What were the other amendments?
So your indemnification, the development entity, am I right, Nick? And then the right-of-way issue.
Should we assign a commissioner?
Yeah. Entity, and then the right-of-way. Okay. Therefore, I move to approve the development agreement between the Intelligent Living Solutions and the Redevelopment Commission, subject to the amendments dealing with the addition of the town of Zionsville being added as an indemnified party, as well as the changing of the development entity, and as well as the right-of-way issues that we've discussed. And with that, I move to designate Darren Kittner to be the signing authority on behalf of the RDC.
Second. Can you repeat what he said? All right, hearing a motion and a second, all those in favor of approving the development agreement subject to the amendments Commissioner Norris read off, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion carries.
The next issue on the agenda, the grant from the Community Development Corporation, the applicant has withdrawn the application, so I think we can move on to the next item, if that's amenable to the commission.
Yep. The next item is the 5-year TIF outlook.
Yes, so Crow will come up and give a presentation on this outlook that they provide on an annual basis.
Morning.
Good morning.
Becca Zakowski with Crow. I didn't prepare a formal presentation, but I'm going to put the report up on the screen so everyone can see. This is just a report that we prepare every year, so it's really just an update from last year's report. I'll flip through some of the pages so you can see what it contains, and then the exhibit really has a lot of the numbers and details. So this first portion just describes what the Redevelopment Commission does and what kind of authorities it has and duties, as well as the Redevelopment Authority, which is created as an instrumentality to finance local public improvements. And then this next section, similar to our annual presentation that we give at the end of the year, just gives an overview of your existing allocation areas, has a short description of when it was created, when it will expire, and the description of the area. So there's several allocation areas you all have established, a couple pages about those areas. This next section is a summary of your outstanding obligations. So these are just the bonds that the town or the commission or authority have issued and have a pledge of TIF revenues. So just goes over those bonds, when they were issued, and what sort of pledge they have from what allocation area. And there are several of those outstanding. And then this goes over your bonding capacity, so really looks at the redevelopment district's debt limit. You're limited to 2% of 1/3 of your assessed value, so you can issue up to $31.9 million of principal outstanding in bonds. There's nothing outstanding that you all have issued that would hit this limit today. Everything that's been issued has been issued as lease rental bonds, which does not count against your debt limit. So all those bonds that you saw on the previous page, like I said, don't hit this debt limit. The next couple of sections just go over tax increment. So if you wanted to, learn a little bit more of what how TIF is calculated and established when it gets distributed, those pages are there, as well as trending and any risks related to TIF revenues. And then the appendices really go into the numbers. These first couple of pages go over your estimated TIF revenues for Pay 25. They stayed pretty steady compared to Pay 24, so if you compare this report to last year, you'll see increases, but pretty steady. One allocation area that did increase by more than a bit was the Holiday Farms allocation area, and I think that was just due to probably the completion of the golf house out there. The next couple pages go over amortization schedules that are related to the bonds that we list in the report. So really, these are just your repayment schedules for each of the bonds. Several of those pages. Of course, we've added the 2024 bonds that have been issued. This schedule goes over your coverage, so looks at TIF revenues compared to your debt service payments. I think a thing to note here is your Zionsville EDA, which produces the most tax increment finance, does expire first, so just to be aware of that, because once that rolls off, that will be a big chunk of TIF. And then the last page is really where the 5-year piece comes into play. We look at 2025 through 2029. We start with your beginning cash balance. We bring in estimated receipts, which looks at your existing TIF revenues from existing property, and then brings in new TIF revenues or from proposed projects related to all of the developer bonds that you all have issued. And then your debt service payments and lease rental payments, again, those are just related to the repayment schedules for your bonds. And then you have operating expenses that we pulled from your budget to get your ending cash balance. And we just carry that forward to the next year and do the same thing. We look at your estimated receipts, your expenditures, and your operating expenses. This section down here really just looks at receipts compared to expenditures. So it shows where you're eating into some of your fund balances on an annual basis. And then the next couple of pages goes over assumptions for each of these lines. So every time you see a number, that is tied to an assumption in the next couple of pages. That provides some background on how we got to the number that you see. That is it. Do you all have any questions? Again, it's just an update of last year, so we added 29, took away 2024.
Becca, when does the Zionsville EDA sunset, so to speak?
I believe it was 2030 was the last year you'll get TIF.
And if the RDC wants to, they can make that TIF area or extend it or redo it. Is that correct? Or am I wrong about that?
No, once that expires, it's expired.
I
And
think you go through the process of
you could do a re-TIF it, but then all the AV would be in the
Base is
base.
higher,
Yeah, so unless you're expecting like something major, some major improvements, I'm not sure you would see increment.
Okay. Because that's a large source of our
Yeah.
positive funding, and I believe the other TIFs don't really project producing that for quite some time, correct? I mean, I guess my question is that a space for concern for the RDC in 5 years?
I think it is if there's other projects that you plan on doing with TIF revenues outside of like a developer bond. So if there's like, public improvements that you wanted to make with cash or TIF revenues that you all receive on an annual basis, that's where it would eat in, to being able to do that. I think other TIF areas will grow as development comes online. I know Creekside has, we've seen increases there as you sell land. So I think it is definitely something to be mindful about, but really impacts those, I think, public improvements that you all make out of that fund.
I suppose as we get closer to 2030 and we project forward, though, we need to keep that well in our minds as far as shortfalls,
Yeah.
past 2030, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they'd be shortfalls. We would just have less discretionary
That's what I meant.
for proceeds for projects. But I also think there will be some additional growth coming on that, and hopefully projects that make it not quite as dire as it may seem.
A lot of these big projects on here aren't even built out yet, right? The farm, Holiday Farms,
Wild Air.
Wild Air. So once those come online,
Yeah, I would say a lot of those projects are tied to a developer bond, so a portion has been pledged to those
We still get
bonds.
10,
Yeah,
20%
yeah,
depending on the project.
Yep.
That's what I was concerned about going forward, but
Creekside will continue to generate more funds, and in 2029, I believe the school payments roll off. So by the time the the Zionsville TIF goes away and rolls off, Creekside will be all ours for discretionary spending if we would need to dip into that.
my only other comment, I'm sorry, excuse me, this 5-year projection is really a good thing I encourage all the commissioners to take a look at it. We looked at it in the Finance Committee. I think it's really shows you what we're doing and how we're doing it. Shows you where we may have, a little less coming in and a little more coming in. So it really is a good document.
do we see any repercussions of property tax reform for this particular body looking forward for the years ahead?
I think with Senate Bill 1 coming out, I think we need to definitely take a look at that and see how it impacts this. I know that there were protections against TIF, so we haven't done an analysis on how that really works into this, but there was a portion that would neutralize any changes, decreases or increases to TIF in that Senate Bill 1. So I know Tim's here too, if he has anything to add to that. I know he looks at that a bit more.
We're reviewing the impact that it'll have on 2%,
Yeah.
which is largely the developer bonds.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep, I'm good.
Any other questions?
I'd just like to echo Kent's comments. This is a great resource, and Crow does such a great job, and thank you for all your work on it.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Next, we have a resolution delegating purchasing authority. Deputy Mayor?
Yes, this resolution came before the commission last month, and just to give a little bit of a summary, the objective here is to try to make it a little bit more streamlined in terms of two things. That is, one, purchases of a certain value such that there's the ability for myself as the director of the commission to make those purchases without having to come before the commission. And then secondly, the ability for myself as the director of the commission to sign engagement letters on a project-by-project basis with the outside counsel for the commission. There was discussion between the last meeting and this meeting in terms of lowering that dollar value and then also making this authority annual and having sort of an annual sunset, such that if there isn't a desire in the future to have this authority, that there is the ability for it to be renewable. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions or discussion, but that's the crux of the resolution.
Any questions or comments on the purchasing authority resolution?
So my comments are, although I'm going to vote for this, I think that the sunset is very important, and that the commissioners, I encourage the commissioners to understand that we are giving up some of our authority here. And although this administration is well above board, this can have some negative effect. If someone wanted to sign off and spend money without the RDC's approval, they can now. And so, although there are, some guidelines in here and some areas that they have to follow, I really believe that we have to take very good authority when we vote for this. And that the sunset, I would encourage, hopefully, future commissions to always have a one-year sunset so they can review it and make sure that it's working properly.
Yeah, I agree with the sunset idea, and I'm fine with the amount. I watched the Parks Board go through this exact same process, and they spent a good 30 minutes plus discussing the purchasing authority, and they ultimately landed at $15,000 as well. So I'm comfortable with this amount. I'm comfortable with the sunset idea as well.
I appreciate the mayor's office and the commissioners coming together to work through this collaboratively and getting it to a good spot. So if there are no other questions, I will accept a motion to approve the purchasing resolution.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And then the last item under new business is the Wild Air EDA amendment to the taxpayer agreement.
Yes, I will just give a quick overview, and I will let Ms. James correct me if I'm wrong, and then I'll maybe have her come to the podium to answer any questions. Again, this is the Wild Air EDA that was just referenced a moment ago. The developer, Old Town, is going to sell a parcel within that EDA, and the bond documents related to this EDA require that when any parcel is sold within that EDA, that both the bondholder, Hageman Capital, and the town of Zionsville just give consent to that. So this is a relatively simple amendment to the taxpayer agreement to allow that to occur. So again, I'll let her correct me if I was wrong or supplement or answer any questions. So.
Hi, everybody. Okay, thank you, Justin. No, I don't have any corrections. That's exactly right. This is a very simple amendment. We're simply swapping out the legal description attached to the taxpayer agreement to carve out this 0.12 acres. So it's just a small sliver. And again, that was not part of the property that we anticipated to be part of the Wild Air project. So this really doesn't have any impact on that project whatsoever. We're just correcting a legal description so that the Wild Air folks can offload this property and it can be sold to another party to be used as a community coffee house.
Any questions? All right. Yeah, my only question was what the use was going to be, so that's glad to hear that's the use. All right, with no questions, I will accept a motion to approve the Wild Air amendment to the taxpayer agreement.
So moved.
Second. All right. We have a motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to other business, Finance Committee.
Yes, we met, we reviewed claims, discussed the draft TIF report with Crow, and then we also confirmed that we would be well, by this point, it will have been filed, the April 15th TIF report that's due to the DLGF through Gateway. So making sure that house was in order. And that's it.
Thank you. Governance Committee did not meet since the last meeting, so we will
No update?
No update. We will move on to the Zionsville CDC committee.
Similar report, so our most previous meeting was canceled. We did have a grant request that we believed was coming here, but as mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, that grant request was withdrawn.
Great. Deputy Mayor, you have anything else?
I just want to say something for the record. The TIF report that was going to be filed, we did have a little bit of a technical glitch, and we're still working with Gateway, but we've been in communication with them. I think we're not the only municipality that's necessarily had issues, so we're just making sure that we do get that filed. But just wanted to be crystal clear for the record that we're still in the process of submission, and we have been in communication with DLGF. So.
Great. Thank you for that update. Anyone else?
The restroom trailer is up. It's accessible in the parking lot south of the Friendly Tavern. Looks great. Hope it operates well for local businesses, and I want to thank this commission again for its support in purchasing that. So, thank you.
I would, as a downtown business owner, it really has been something that has been on the front of every person who comes downtown for the 25 years that I've been there. So, thank you.
Great.
All right, on that note, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right.
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned.